Deidre, Sarge, hey, Judge is on the line. Please tell them about that video game we were just talking about.
Well, the Democrats came up with this theme called Choose Your Fighter. And they got the usual bunch of hysterical Democrats like Flavy Crockett and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and the usual bunch of leftist Democrat women, all women, and you're supposed to pick them to represent you in the fight against, I don't know, the patriarchy or the oppressive system, or Trump wanted to make them slaves, as Flavy Crockett said that he wants black people to go back to picking cotton in the field.
Well, in other words, it's sort of a tell on themselves type thing, huh?
Yeah, the one thing, the production value of the thing ain't even worth the money. It's just stupid. It's not even, it hasn't even got its own internal coherence. I mean, these people are not only destructive and demagogic and irrelevant and tone deaf and anti-human nature, they're silly. They're not serious.
Well, they're stupid. Well, anyway, let me go finish up what I'm doing. I got a couple of things. I got a deadline to get together, so let me go back and deal with it.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes,
Good luck. And nice talking to you for how long it lasted.
Well, nice talking to you
right.
too. Choose your fighter. Thank you. All right. Love
Okay.
you, life.
Valerie, focus us back, and we are digressing.
Hey, family. What's up? It's Valerie Denise Jones checking in. I'm off work today, so I'm going to get a few things done. Would love to have you join this conversation. Meet me down in the comment section. I love you.
I mean, she's not the first time she said anything comparable to this. But so, have you ever heard the saying? Now, I just sent you a link to that video so you can see it. But have you ever heard a saying that the problem with generals is they're always fighting the last war?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Democrats are going way back in time to fight the last war, and they're acting as though it still has cachet among the American electorate. They just can't let go of what they think has worked for them in the past. Illegal aliens, the civil rights racket, it's not working for them anymore. Not even the labor union stuff is working for them anymore. They're fighting the last war as though it's still current. People like that are always a problem, no matter what side of the political spectrum they fall on, because they always are true to the principles of whatever movement it is they get involved in. People like that can be dangerous to both sides.
Hey, Sarge, real quick, because Judge don't have time. Tell him about that video game.
What video game?
What you just sent me.
Oh, you mean the TikTok? Yeah, the TikTok. Okay. Yeah, like I said, the theater kids in the Democrat Party have come up with a new wrinkle. I think it's going to win them votes among the Generation Z and millennial crowd. I don't know, maybe the millennial crowd, man, certainly Generation Z. What they're doing is they come out with sort of a take on the video fighter selection screen. The video game selection screen where you choose your particular fighter or your avatar, and you got a bunch to select from, a bunch of different styles to select from, and usually the character there is kind of just moving back and forth, kind of like in a rocking motion, and you can scroll between the various type of characters and pick them. Well, the Democrats came up with this theme called Choose Your Fighter, and they got the usual bunch of hysterical Democrats like Flavy Crockett and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and the usual bunch of leftist Democrat women, all women, and you're supposed to pick them to represent you in the fight against, I don't know, the patriarchy or the oppressive system, or Trump wanted to make them slaves, as Flavy Crockett said that he wants black people to go back to picking cotton in the field, because she doesn't seem to realize that illegal aliens are taking over that job. Now, I don't know what it is with her, but whatever it is, you're picking a fighter to represent you against that particular threat.
Well, they're stupid. Anyway, so what else? Self-expression, self-concept. So anyway.
Well, on TikTok, and that's what. And X, they was all over X. It's been all over everywhere. Everybody's been commenting on how silly it is. Just silly. Just silly. Choose your fighter. Oh, for God's sake.
That makes about as much sense as bring your booty to the poll.
That made more sense than bring your booty poll makes more sense than that does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. You bring your booty to the polls. Hey, bring your booty to the polls and the rest of you will follow. Makes sense. Your arms there, your booty's there, and your arms are at least preceding your booty. So they get there so you can make the mark on the stylus or in the paper or whatever. So it makes sense. This choose your fighter thing, man, it's just silly.
It says the video was widely mocked by conservatives on social media. Many pointing out the Democrats' antics at President Trump's speech to Congress on Wednesday.
And it ain't just conservatives. I've seen all kinds of Democrat commentators mocking them for this foolishness.
Oh, this is what you were talking about. House Democrats suggest Trump is trying to bring back slavery in racially charged live stream back to the fields.
Yeah. I'm still, how can they go back to the fields when you bought all these illegal aliens to do your new slave labor? You can't even go back to the fields. What's next? They got to turn black people into soap? These people, I don't know. You know, sometimes, you look, how do they arrive at that sort of a conclusion?
But this is dumb because it says two House Democrats, including prominent President Donald Trump critic Jasmine Crockett, suggest during a live stream on Tuesday that the president's policy agenda is aimed at driving black people back to the fields to the time of slavery.
Now you understand why I call her Slavey Crockett. She's always talking like that. Always.
Oh, they have decided to go after immigrants and things like that. They say, "Oh, they taking your black jobs, and taking your black jobs." Not really. What? Obviously, jobs they want us to go back to, such as working in the fields. Those immigrants that come into our country work the fields. Something that we ain't done in a long time, and clearly he's trying to make us go back to the field. How is that even possible?
Well, tell me something. Everybody agrees. Now, I keep hearing these Democrats saying, we got to have illegal aliens to work the field because we're going to starve to death if we don't have illegal aliens to pick our crops. I mean, I may be overstating it slightly, but not much. Yeah, we don't have illegal aliens to pick the crops. We're not going to be able to figure out how to do it ourselves. We're just going to die. So if the work is really that essential, why shouldn't black people do it? It's an important job. It's hard work. You just make it worth the effort, and American people will do it too. You make it a competitive pay scale, they'll do it. They'll do it. And the money we save by not having to have illegal aliens in the form of taxes and all this money, $59 million in New York City to house illegal aliens in just one hotel. You know, I think we can compensate for that by paying a little bit more for our groceries and hiring American citizen people here legally. And I think in the end, it'll all balance out. And we won't have to create a new serf slave class. Is that what we want to do? We want to create a new class of serfs and slaves who might be out of a job in not too near future when they automate everything, including picking tomatoes. Then we're going to do all these illegal aliens with no skills. Oh, I know what we have to do. We have to expand the welfare state, and we have to create a whole bunch of new programs and spend even more money on these illegal aliens we brought in the country illegally that we can't seem to kick out. See how that works? It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? When you want to expand government, these are the kind of things you do. And you put them up like there's some sort of unimpeachable concepts that you just can't say anything about unless you be accused of being heartless, cruel, and mean. It's very clever. It's very insidious. And the Democrats have been getting away with it for decades now.
Valerie, focus us back, and we are digressing.
I gotta log into my phone to see that I saw his name pop up. But I want to remind you guys that we are live with Dr. Fraser. I want to play this. It's about a minute long. I'm going to check to see if Judge is on the board. And then hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk about black wealth and the reason why Dr. Fraser said that, what was it again? Black people are heading into a second slavery. So listen to this. And then listen to this, and when we come back, we'll talk.
In America, you're either excellent or you're invisible. Let me say that again. You're either excellent in this country or you're invisible. I'll focus on excellence, and demonstrated excellence must be one of the top priorities for black people for the 21st century. With my own personal philosophies and things that I've been teaching and preaching for 40 years, I have invested my time, talent, treasure, my wealth back into the black community to improve the condition of our people. I am a race man. The future of black people, brothers and sisters, in case no one has told you, I'm going to tell you, is not dependent upon how white people treat black people. Forget that BS. The future of black people is dependent upon how black people treat black people.
Wow, that was powerful.
Right.
I wish I had a cleaner version.
Who
felt
said
like
that?
Was
that
muffled.
me? Oh, that.
I know, right?
Holy mackerel. Me. I'm good.
Yeah.
but you notice how simple
goodness.
and straightforward I keep it. Keep it real. With our people. You got to keep it real with our people. And one of the keys to oratory or lecturing or speaking is you have to speak in such a way that people will remember what you said. So you really have to speak short, powerful, in quips so that people can repeat it. And the less complicated you make it and you net it all out, the more people remember it. I cannot even begin to tell you how many hundreds, if not 1,000 people have come up to me and quoted something I said in a speech. And that gives me great joy. They remembered it.
Yeah, I got a couple quotes I'm going to keep forever. I got a couple, but I won't take up any more of the airtime because Judge is here. But as a perfect segue, do you mind explaining what you meant by black people are heading into a second slavery?
Sure. To be black and beautiful.
And Judge's mic is open.
Hello, Judge Brown.
How you doing, Doctor?
I'm doing wonderful. I miss you. But anyway, let me answer the question.
For part of the count the last few months, but I have been cured, so I'm back in getting in shape again.
There you go. Well, we need you and we love you. And so I was just getting ready to answer Valerie's question.
Please.
Yes. Valerie, to be black and beautiful means nothing unless you're black and powerful. We can't be black and proud and niggas too. White folks are planning for 3 generations and we're planning for Saturday night. Okay? The goal, my dear, is to win, not to look like we're winning, right? I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You ain't winning, right? Louis Vuitton is winning, Versace is winning, Gucci is winning, Nike is winning. Your ass ain't winning. It's not happening, right? It is interesting to me that the rich stay rich while pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor by pretending to be rich. Now, if we look at wealth in this country, white American households own 90% of the nation's wealth. Black Americans, in spite of the fact they were 13 to 14% of the population, own 2.6% of the nation's wealth. And Dr. Amos Wilson, he passed away in the 90s, but he's all over YouTube. Search for his lectures on YouTube. But he said, I think it was 1991, our refusal as black people to confront the issue of money and wealth is going to end up with our very lives being threatened as people on this earth. Now, interestingly enough, in 2017, the Institute of Policy Studies put out a major report, about 200 pages, on the economic state of black wealth in this country. The closing argument, closing thought in this study was this, and I quote, if nothing changes among African Americans, it will take them 228 years, if ever, to close the wealth gap between blacks and whites in America. But it will take Hispanics only 89 years. Now, this is the Institute of Policy Studies, April 2016. Now, it went on to say, by 2053, just 10 years after the country is projected to become majority non-white, black median families will own zero wealth if current trends continue. White median families will continue to own 6 figures plus. That is the projection and the prediction from the Institute of Policy Studies. This is not something I made. Now, try to operate in a market-based economy in a democratic capitalistic society without money. You are, in effect, in a second slavery. And we have to fix that. Now, fast forward to December 11th, 2017. This was 1 year after the study came out. The Boston Globe put out a front-page story with a headline that was so egregious they had to qualify the headline in the headline. It was a story about black Bostonians and their wealth. Front page, above the fold, 20-point type. Now, Boston is one of the wealthiest cities in America, the home of Harvard, MIT, Boston College, Bryn Mawr, Boston University, etc., Sarah Lawrence, etc., etc. It's one of the wealthiest cities in America. Here was the headline, and I quote, I'm looking at it. This was no typo, colon. The median net worth of black Bostonians really is $8. Now, those Negroes in Boston are 30 years ahead of the prediction from the Institute of Policy Studies. Something must change, or we are in deep doo-doo. And we are going to have to change it. There are some very bad habits that we have as a people. One of them is that we don't talk about money. We don't talk about money at home. We don't talk about money at church. And we don't talk about money at school. So we don't even talk about money. If you have any Jewish friends, and I have a lot of Jewish friends, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, the 5th largest Jewish population in America. And if you've ever gone to their synagogue, or if you've ever had dinner with Jewish families, the only freaking thing they talk about is money. That's what they talk about. And there are only 20 million of them in the entire world. And they control the most significant amount of the $420 trillion of global wealth. 20 million of them. There are 1.6 billion of us. Now, there are lots of reasons why, over the last 400 years, I don't think I need to articulate that, why that gap is so huge and wide. But The wealth gap between blacks and whites just in the last 50 years has increased. So we have work to do. Some of it will have to be supported in the public sector. But most of it we will have to get done ourselves. And so I am fearful of that. We need to be financially educated. We, as I said, as you heard me say, I think you played the piece, the Wall Street Journal put out an article about saying the fact that that financial illiteracy is an American problem. And we know that when white folks catch a cold, black people catch pneumonia. So if financial illiteracy is an American problem, it's 10 times the damn problem in our culture. And we see this acted out all the time, and we shake our heads. We are addicted to instant gratification versus delayed gratification. Lots of reasons for it. To assuage self-esteem and the lack of self-worth, we buy a Mercedes when we can only afford a Chevy because we just, we don't want to look as less than as we feel. So it's a deep problem. It will not be solved in our lifetime. It will take a mindset and mind shift change. It will take Judge Brown, me, and anybody else willing to talk about this and to bring solutions to the table every opportunity we get. Because we know that the key to learning is simplicity and repetition. We got to say it 50 different ways on 50 different days. We have to talk about it. It has to be a focus. It has to be a goal. And there's much that we can do. And there's much that others can do to facilitate that. But it's going to begin with us. As I've said 1,000 times, nobody's saving us but us. At the end of the day, it's 400 years and we ain't saved. Are things better than it was 400 years ago? Oh, the answer to that would be hell to the yes. No question about that. But we have come a long way, but we have much further to go. And the wealth gap, that it's not even a gap, it's a damn chasm, has to be closed over time. My opinion, it'll take, I said in my piece that you played, 3 to 5 generations, 100 years. That's what it will take. If we start now and begin the process of re-education and just make it a priority. It's not that we can't learn it. We can. No question about it. And there are those of us that have escaped that kind of gross illiteracy. Some really smart brothers and sisters out here when it comes to money. No question about that. But that's the minority. It's not the majority. So that's all I'm saying. Things have to change.
Thank you. Judge?
Well, Doc, I agree with everything you said. It's a mindset. In dealing with people from all walks of life, from all races and ethnicities, I find something very unusual about black folks. If you get a white man, a Mexican, a Native American, an Asian guy, a Jew guy, an Italian, a Frenchman, an Irishman, and he gets confronted by somebody with a superior intellect or intelligence, his reaction is to attempt to even the educational gap. He'll go study. Mm-hmm. He'll go try to pick up some knowledge. Black folk, we just totally reject it. Oh, man, he boule, man.
Right.
And we sort of glorifying our ignorance. We think like slaves. And one of the secrets to maintaining the slave institutions was to cause those things that are necessary in the mindset of the slave to become part of the slave's culture, so the slave taught them to himself.
Yes. Yes.
And what we think about is just horrible. We come up with all sorts of mythologies, and we even bastardize some terms like, this dude written a lot of books. Yeah, but they're all junk. Like there's one clown going around right now, and he is trolling a lot of people who have good sense. His position is that 250,000 years ago, some aliens visited Earth. They found some Africans in the jungle, and on spaceships, they transported them first to Egypt, built the pyramids, and the pyramids aren't that old. And then they transported them to North America 250,000 years ago. Sometime after that, they brought in some Native Americans, and the Native Americans were subjugated to an extent. And then when the white man came in, the white man and the Indians enslaved the black folks. So the whole thing about slave ships and the slave trade is a lie to cover up the fact that the Indians and the white folk enslaved the Africans who were already here. So Africans are supposed to be the original American Aboriginals. There is absolutely no support for that, but these clowns believe there is, and they claim that we got brought over here by space aliens and flying saucers.
Yeah.
Spaceships. I mean, that kind of utter stupidity is just astonishing. And then you want to talk about we need to have a serious debate. The thing that gets me is if you get any other ethnicity and they know that their position is attributed to ignorance and lack of education, they will self-treat it as such. But these folk actually believe this crazy mythology that they come up with is the truth. And they want to treat it as though it's serious.
Yes. And those are the books we will buy. And those are the books we will buy, Judge.
Yeah.
We'll buy that kind of crap.
Hey, I grew up in Los Angeles. And when I first got to the Tennessee area almost 50 years ago, I was astonished when everybody sat around the table, whether it's your family dinner table or the lunch table in the cafeteria or after work at a happy hour, and they're talking about Jesus and God, and I'm blessed this, and I'm blessed that. And everybody at the table would say it 15, 20 times an hour. And they never understood what they were doing. Nobody was interested in how something was done. It was just they wanted to hear themselves say they got blessed. And that's a reflection of part of the black culture acculturating the people who are victimized by it with the idea that they don't have free will. And the only thing that determines what happens to them is the power of prayer, not their own deeds and cunning applications or knowledge and information.
Yeah.
They float on water over which they have no control.
Amen.
It's astonishing.
Yeah, it's astonishing. It's disheartening. It's disappointing. And, I don't know how to correct that. I actually, Judge, I don't think I have enough life. I don't think you have enough life left to correct that. That's a very deep problem.
Let me add a mix to that, if I might interrupt briefly. Back in the 60s, they had the knob. And in order not to get a year-long, all-expense-paid journey to sunny Vietnam, you had to come stay in college. And a lot of black folk went to college. That's where it was. And then we got this nonsense where the LGBTQ primitives took over, started taking over, laying their groundwork for their control of public opinion and dissemination of information.
Mm-hmm.
And they started glorifying dysfunction as a way to get poor blacks and poor anybody else to spend their money so they could get finance for what they need. They sold mind crack, not the drug crack, the mind crack. And then you got 40-some years of the likes of Oprah Winfrey's and such like, who would spread this dysfunctional poison that people fell in love with. Black women in love with arrogance, rush home from work, cut corners on what they did at a job so they could see this heathen, white, dysfunctional, poor white trailer trash woman do her thing. And now, see, there is a 1-1 correlation between what a people does and their concept of public decency. But we've got a street-walking prostitute who is a big black celebrity, and she brags about drugging her tricks so she could rob them more efficiently. And we've got another big oversized fat hog who dances naked in public, breathes down, and talks about she is so ashamed, so upset at being fat-shamed. And she shows up in public dressed like a fat harlot.
Right.
You see, you can't have decency without some sense of self-betterment. And you can't have self-betterment if your ideation is self-destructive and insulting to self.
Yeah.
It's all wrapped up. We have to make this a fad. Now, there is one hope, and that is this. 55 years ago, I had a political science class, and it taught me that in a system like ours, without current mass or mainstream media nor social media, you can get a fad started in about 6 weeks. Now, we need to do something about starting a fad to make it uncool to do the wrong thing.
Right. That's right. Right.
Now, that
That's
we
right.
can't. And the other thing is if you and I can't get everybody, we can get those who want to be leaders and give them some clues as to what it's about and the word spreads. You build up excitement.
Right. 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 Well, I it's always fascinating and enlightening to listen to you, Judge. You have
thank you.
a heck of a. I mean, really, you have such a perspective, and sort of as an elder on life. And I have a 5:30 Zoom call, which I have to prepare for.
Well, Doc, you need to get your 5:30 Zoom call. It's been great.
Right.
Come back.
Right. And I had about an hour or so, and I wanted to do this because your name was attached to it. They mentioned your name as, count me in. So let's put a pin in it. We'll get back at some other point in time. And again, it's always good to be around you and in your presence as an
You'll
elder,
be back next week, right?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is it next week? Is it next Friday?
Next Friday.
Yeah. I thought I was doing. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Boyce Watkins is doing the show next week, or is Judge Brown doing the show?
I do it every week.
Yeah.
He does it every week. He's here every week. Yeah.
Okay. So Boyce will be on as well.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know. I was just asking, and so yeah, I think we have something booked for next Friday. So I'll be back, and hopefully the judge will be here. And
I will be here.
Okay. Awesome. And so we will meet again. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Okay, thank
Keep
you.
doing
Normally
God's
I get your takeaway, but I know we won't have time. You want to shout out any social media or websites or current promotions?
You have time for that?
People can follow me on people can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.
Yeah, love it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome.
Great show. Great
question.
question.
Have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, family, that's it. I'm out of here. I love you to life. Please make sure that you meet me down in the comment section. Subscribe. Hit the like button so that we can get back into the algorithm. We need your support. Please love on us any way that you can afford. We appreciate it. Thank you. Share if you care. Shout out to everybody who was involved in today's audio. I'm tired and exhausted, so I'm going to get out of here. I love you to life. Bye.
Game over.